Hi everyone, welcome back to Cottoverdi. My name's Annette and today I'm starting my Clematis seeds, and the reason I'm starting these today is because they need a period of cold stratification in order to germinate, and they could take ages. They could take more than a year to germinate, so I just want to get cracking. Ideally I would have done this in late fall, but it's January, so I'm going to do it now, and I think they aren't going to come to any harm. Basically, you could try to sow these seeds at any point in time. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos, I think I showed everybody these seeds back in December on one of my Vlogmas vlogs. These are the seeds that I got from Alla. I ordered them from Alla, a lady in Ukraine that Leatherflower Erin from Leatherflower was, recommending, and she's done a beautiful video about what's going on there and how Alla's coping. But anyway, I'm very excited to start these seeds today. So I'm just going to talk really quickly about how I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go through all the different varieties that I'm sowing today, and I've got loads. Alla has created a wonderful book all about Clematis and all about how you can propagate them and how you can grow them from seed. And I am using the easy method, which will probably take longer, but I just don't want to go through all the rigmarole of using all sorts of solutions and soaking them and doing all of that just to speed the process up. Now, Clematis seeds come with a really hard coating, all of them. Sometimes they'll still have the wispy tail attached, which I guess is, how the seeds are dispersed by the wind, with these wispy tails. Having the wispy tail attached makes absolutely no difference whatsoever to whether your seed's going to germinate or not. So you can take it off or you can leave it on, it really doesn't matter. I am really hoping that with this cold spell and then it warming up again, that my seeds will germinate this year. The other thing that we could do is we could keep the seeds in the freezer for a few months and then sow them, but I've missed that opportunity and mine have just been stored in the pantry, which is cool but not cold. In order to help my seeds to germinate, I'm going to sow them today into moist compost, and then I'm going to place them in my cold frames outside and let nature do its thing. So I'm just going to leave them there through the winter, and hopefully in spring I'll get some germination as the weather warms up. Now, when I place them in the cold frames, initially I think I am going to keep a plastic lid on top of them, but in doing that, I'm going to have to remember to keep them watered because the compost does need to be moist, not waterlogged, but moist, I guess, in order for the hard seed shells to break open so that the seeds inside can germinate. But I could just leave them open to the elements and that would be absolutely fine. They can take all the snow and all the cold that nature throws at them. The only reason I don't really want to do that is because I'm worried that they may get drowned by the rain that we could get. And I know that we're going to get rain at the end of this week. So I'm just going to initially just protect them and see how they do. If I have to keep watering them, I may just take the lid off. Now I'm going to go through which seeds I'm sowing today. I've got 18 varieties, can you believe that? And then I thought I'd show you how exactly I'm sowing them. So all of these, I'll put a picture up on the screen of what they're going to look like. I've never had these in my garden before and I've never sown them before, so they're all new to me and I'm super excited. Most of them are going to be group 3 Clematis, which means that I can cut them hard back to the ground each year, and then they'll flower again in the spring. They'll grow again in the spring. The first one I'm sowing is called Atragene, and I think this is a particular seedling that is special to Alla because she has just described it as our double light pink seedling. So I don't actually have a picture of it, and I can't remember what it looks like. There was definitely a picture on her website when she had the seeds to sell, but I don't have a picture to show you, but it's definitely a bell-shaped. The Atragene Clematis are particularly useful for shade, and I quite fancy having some in the lane outside our property, and that's very north-facing and shaded for pretty much all the day. So I'm going to try growing this Clematis there. I'm growing Clematis viorna. This is a species Clematis and it's a lavender purple bell, and it will grow up to about 3 meters, and it's going to flower between May and August. The next one I'm growing is called Clematis Buckland Beauty, and this is another bell-shaped clematis. It's going to grow to 3 meters tall, and it's got chunky pinkish mauve bells with recurved petals and a yellow-green throat, and it's going to flower between June and September. And then I've got a couple of Clematis crispers. So the first one is Clematis crisper Nicky, and this one is bell-shaped. It's pale mauve with a deeper mauve curved sepal, and it will grow up to 3.5 meters tall, so like 8 to 10 foot, and again will flower between June and September. Then I've got Clematis crisper Angel. I love that name. This one's light blue with wavy edges and curling tips. It'll grow to 1.5 meters tall, so significantly shorter, and flower between July and September. And then I'm growing Clematis crisper Titipoo, and this is another bell-shaped. It's pinky rose with yellow-green on the inside, and it will grow to over 3 meters tall probably, and flower between July and September. Then I'm growing Clematis glaucophila, another bell-shaped. It'll grow between 3 and 5 meters tall, and it's this beautiful cherry pink with slightly recurved petals and a soft, creamy pointed tip. The next one I'm growing is called Clematis Peveril Peach, but I believe it's been renamed as Clematis Sonnet. This is a lovely peachy pink colour, and it's going to grow to 3 meters tall, so 6 foot. It'll flower between June and September. And I'm growing Clematis I Am Stanislaus, which is such an interesting name. This is a gorgeous star-shaped clematis. It really like folds back on itself. It's lovely light lavender blue with darker margins and these really long creamy white anthers in the middle, and it'll grow to 1.5 meters tall and flower between July and September. I'm growing Clematis Fascination, another bell shape. It's glossy dark violet blue with paler margins. It'll grow to 1.2 meters tall and flower between June and August. I'm growing Clematis Ember. It's another beautiful bell shape. It's reddish pink with paler edges, and it's going to grow to 1.2 meters tall and flower between June and September. I'm growing Clematis Twinkle. These are such cute names. This one is chalk white with this sky blue crown. It kind of fades from the blue to the white, and it's got these gorgeous twisting sepals. Again, it's another bell shape. This one is quite low growing, so only 1 meter, and it'll flower between June and September. I'm growing Clematis Rugucci. This one is a rich, shiny purple bell shape with deeply ribbed flowers and silvery purple margins. It looks and sounds gorgeous, and it's going to grow to about 3 meters tall, and it'll flower between June and October. So I think this is the longest flowering one that I've got. I'm growing Clematis integrifolia alba, and this is a pure white bell-shaped flower with an occasional hint of blue at the base and slightly twisted outer sepals, and it's going to grow to 1.2 meters tall and flower between June and September. I'm also growing the Clematis integrifolia deep blue, which has got deep blue flowers with twisted petals, and again 1.2 meters tall and flower between June and September. So the next one I'm growing is group 2, and this one is called Clematis viva Polina, and these flowers are about 4 centimeters across. They're star-shaped, and they're magenta pink with white at the base, and it will grow to about 2 meters tall and flower between May and July. The next one I'm growing is Clematis omashiro. It's also a group 2 early large flowered clematis, and this one is beautiful, absolutely stunning. It's really pale pink with raspberry at the edges and on the back of the flower as well, and it's got white and red stamens in the middle. The flowers are 6 inches across. It's going to grow to 2.5 meters tall, and it'll flower twice between May and June and August and September. The last one I'm growing is called Clematis tentel, and this is a group 3, but it is a late flowering large flowered clematis. So these flowers are going to be between 8 and 10 centimeters wide, and they have got pinkish violet sepals with beautiful fluffy margins. and it's going to grow to 3.5 meters tall. So those are all the different varieties of clematis that I'm sowing, and now I'm just going to get on and sow them. So what I've decided to do, because I think each packet's got maybe 5 or 6 seeds in it, and they really are best sown fresh. So I'm going to sow them all, like my entire packet. And what I'm going to do is sow them into these cell trays, and because I don't want them to take up space, I've got 18 different varieties. I think I'll probably do 2 cells, so half a packet in each, and I'll do 2 cells of each one. So the seeds need to be planted about 1/2 inch, so between 6 and 10 centimeters deep, and then covered with soil, moist compost. I'll probably sprinkle vermiculite on top because that helps retain the moisture, but also it helps prevent the algae growth. So what I did find when sowing the clematis seeds was that it was easier to poke them into the soil and push them down rather than making a well and then sowing them and then trying to cover them up. I also sprinkled some more compost on top once I'd finished, and then, as I said, I've covered it with vermiculite. I'm now going to bottom water my trays, so I'll put them in a basin of water and let the compost just absorb as much water as it needs, and then I'm going to put them out in my cold frames with some plastic lids on. I know that most of us probably buy our clematis as fully grown plants, but it is fun to try something new, and I'm really happy to be supporting somebody in Ukraine who's trying to support her whole family. So anyway, this is such an experiment. I really enjoy doing things like this. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it too, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. And then I'm growing Clematis crispa titipoo. I'm so childish.